and welcome back to Global Access Bars Day. We have two very special guests for this segment, Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane Here, the co-creators of Access Consciousness.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
guys.
I didn't want to cry, and I'm going to.
We've been crying all day. It's like Global Access Bars Cry Day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
but it's like for me, it's, when I started out 20 billion years ago to do this, I didn't have any clue that this would be this amazing, this big, and that so many people would be receiving what Access Bars give. And it's like, so today is a horrible day for me.
Let's make it more
I have to
horrible.
receive that my targets and my goals were met and beyond. So thank you all for being here, and thank you all for your contribution. I will not cry.
Just clench the sphincter, clench the sphincter. Nope.
Well, that does help.
Could you all imagine what it would be like to be just something lands in your lap that is an awareness that you know will contribute. And there you are, one person who's like, okay, I'll bring this to the world. And having people just slam doors in your face left and right, and you're the only one who gets it. And 30 plus years later, to see it is actually around the world. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
It's horrible.
And I want to say thank you too to everyone who submitted content for the day, because we were watching before we came on stage, watching all the beautiful videos.
They were watching, I was crying.
Yeah. From everyone around the world. And it just does give it that sense of, here's this Access Bars, Access Consciousness you started 30 years ago by yourself, and now to really see people in 175 countries with these tools is amazing.
Just amazing, yes.
Thank you. So I'll start with the questions. Try not to make you cry.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to try to make him cry more.
Oh,
know
God.
you.
Me? Okay.
Oh! Me? Little innocent me? I would never do such a thing unless I could get away with it.
Oh. So the title of this segment is Crossing the Divide.
Yeah.
And right now, there's a world that seems intent on dividing people and dividing us.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how to change that? And is there a middle ground, or how do you get rid of that separation?
Well, it's like allowance is the greatest gift that there is. It's like when you have allowance for somebody, it takes away separation. I can allow that people need to, do COVID Gestapo. I can allow that these people function this way, but I don't have to change my life to fit theirs. It's interesting, all kinds of them want me to change my life to fit their point of view, and I just ain't gonna do it, because I know it doesn't work for me. And it's like, and I want everybody to have the courage, and that's the thing that I see Access gives people, is the courage to recognize how phenomenal they actually are. It's like I've had lots of people who said to me, "What do I do? I'm working financially. What do I need to do?" And I said, "Go get a job." But I don't want to get a regular job. I know. Go get a job. But I don't want to. I said, do it. God damn it. You only have to do it for 3 weeks, but you got to do it. And they went out and got a regular job, and they went, oh my God, that was the greatest gift I ever got, because I realized I am not like other people. I realized that I don't have to live the way they live. They actually believe they have to live like that they have no other choice. I know, because of bars and because of Access, that I have a choice. What a difference. And to me, that is the greatest gift. There's I don't know where it is anymore, but we did a radio program one time where we had 8 different people on it. From, we had a Danglish woman. She was Danish and Spanish. She, we had a black lady, we had a Muslim, we had a Hindi, we had people from regular religions. No. And it's like, and they all said that they got that it's like none of those create a separation. They're all in oneness. We all count. And it's like, I really want everybody to realize how they count. Because you are a gift whether you realize it or not. And you just have to choose what makes you the gift that you are. And some people have found that after being in Access for a while, they have a tendency to actually walk into a room and be noticed. And they walk into the room and people, say, who are you? Me? I go into a department store and I walk around and people walk up and say, sir, where's the so-and-so? I go, I don't work here. But they always assume I work there because they always assume I am in charge, which I am. Usually I just go, well, I think you'll find it over there, and usually that's where it is. But I do that from psychic awareness.
One of the things you just mentioned, well, the first thing you mentioned was allowance.
Yes.
And so with allowance, there's no need to fight.
No.
But what's the difference between allowance and if you're not fighting, but also not being a doormat and letting this reality sort of run over you?
Yes. Well, a lot of you think allowance is tolerance. Allowance is not tolerance. Allowance is recognizing the difference and not having a point of view about it. Tolerance is trying to put up with the shit people are pulling on you. People have said to me, you don't have a mask on. I said, I've already had it. Well, yeah, but you could give it. No, I can't. I have the antibodies to it. But because I say it with total allowance, they don't have anything to fight. I'm not putting a charge there for them. You ever notice that when you come in with your dukes up, somebody will put their dukes up to fight you? Mm-hmm. Well, with allowance, you never have to put your dukes up. You just state what it is for you. And stating what it is for you changes people. It's just easier. Does that help? Does that answer?
Yes,
Okay,
it does. I'm going to ask you another one because it's one of my favorite Gary Douglas quotes. But right now, as you've mentioned, people are really fighting to be right. And you have said you can either be right or you can be free.
Yes.
Would you like to say more about that?
No. Okay, I will.
Enough said.
Enough said. You got a choice to be right or you got a choice to be free. What do you want? What are you looking for? If you have to be right, then everybody else has to fight. And if people have to fight you to make themselves right in order to get you not to be right, what's going to get created?
I had a conversation with a friend yesterday who has, over the last few years, realized that her entire perspective is, I must be right. And she said, here, let me help you out there. Not just a speaker, I also do tech. Okay.
It has everything.
And she said, I realized just today, after years of looking at this right thing, that in order for me to be right, I've had to make everybody else wrong. And I went, wow, that's a brilliant awareness. And she had looked at people that she had had conversations and interactions with and realized that she was so vested in being right that she couldn't hear what they were saying. She couldn't actually even sense what they were delivering as it actually was, because looking through the lens of having to be right, well, that is a very intense need of proving the rightness of everything that is your point of view. And anybody who doesn't have something that exactly matches it is now wrong and to be rejected. And
that's the important part, is the rejection. Do you want to reject people or do you want to include people in your life?
because in order to reject anybody else, you have to reject parts of you. Because there are parts of you that are like other people. Those are the ones we always reject. Those are the ones we judge. We always judge the part of us that we see in someone else.
You cannot judge anything you have not been or done in one lifetime or another. What? You can't judge anything you cannot have not been or done. So if you're judging, it's because you've been there and done that. So get over it. You're judging you, not them. But you reject them just as quickly as you reject you.
And what are you really rejecting? Those parts of you that you're judging. And so a great process, a great thing that can help is when you notice yourself judging somebody else, you want to pock and pod when you were that, pock and pod when you did that. And what happens is the charge comes off because the only reason you have that really intense charge is because it's something that you have been or done. And when you do that, it's amazing how quickly you can get over the need to judge or separate from somebody else. But in order to do that, you need to get over the need to be right.
Yeah. That's not an easy one because, it's like you were taught your whole life, well, if you do it right, everything will be right. Except, who'd you know who was always right that was actually right?
How many people did you know that were always right that were actually always wrong?
Lots.
Yeah, and those are always the ones who are like, I am right and you are wrong. You're like, no, I don't think so. It gives us a skewed vision of what actually is many of these
It's better
things.
to be skewed than screwed. Or is it?
I think it depends on the skewing and the screwing.
Good point.
Not quite sure. I mean, ponder that for a minute.
Can I ask you guys, one of the first things that goes away when there's a division or separation between people is kindness. How do we bring back kindness to ourselves and back into the equation?
Well, first of all, every time you find yourself judging yourself, oh God, I'm so ugly today. Or like I did, oh my God, I look so old this morning. I look like my age. Hell, I got to get off this thing. I don't want to be on stage looking like this. And it's like, and I need to have a new body. Not really. I just need to keep on going and keep on getting. And the end result will be that, if I'm kind to myself, I don't judge myself. When you judge yourself, you look at yourself, you see yourself in judgment, then you go, okay, pock and pot every time I was that or did that. And then you go, okay, what's really true? Am I really as old and ugly as I think I am? Well, my body may be as old as I think it is. And I may think it looks as old as I think it looks. But when I meet other people, I go, whoa! I went, okay, I'm doing better than I thought. So you just got to have that place where you start looking at what is instead of what you think it should be.
Well, not only that, I mean, I just need to say this about that age thing, et cetera. It's like, Gary doesn't take any drugs. He's not on any drug. Doesn't take supplements, except sometimes, very rarely. And it's like somebody that is that age, you don't see that in this world. Most people this age get around and talk about their medications.
Yeah, I just had a conversation with my sister yesterday for 1 hour talking about her friends and all the medications they're taking. Really fun.
Some of you who've thought, I don't want to get old, now you know you don't want to get old.
Yeah.
Whoa. But that, like you said, it's the bringing the kindness back has to start with a sense of kindness to us.
Yes, and that has to get that place where instead of judging you, you go, okay, what's a better way to deal with this? What is actually possible and what can I change? What can I change? What can I change? What can I change? Which is where I live my life. What can I change about this? Not what's wrong with this. I bought a new car a few months ago, and I never drove it. I drove it today for the first time. It's a 1977 El Camino. It has 56,000 original miles on it. So it's like driving a 4-year-old car. And it's cool.
I like when he says, I just bought a new car. 1977.
Well, it basically has mileage on it for a 4-year-old car, okay? So it's like, it's basically 4 years old. It just happened to have been built in 1977. So I love it. I enjoy it, and it was just wonderful to drive up and watch the valets go, "Whoa, cool car." Yeah. I may be old, but I'm not cool.
Kindness
El
to you.
Camino rhymes with cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Can I ask another question? For those of us,
Well, you're going to.
this is true. For a lot of us that take the role of like a peacemaker or peacekeeper,
Yeah.
is there a value in
Give it
that?
on
if
up
we-
to Jesus. You cannot keep the peace because nobody wants it. You ever notice? I mean, it's like, it'd be easy for us to have a sense of peace, but nobody wants that. They want to fight for the rightness of their point of view. They want to fight for what they've decided is so. I mean, you should hear my sister's conversation about, I'm going to kill my grandkids because I'm not vaccinated. What? First of all, I have personally been kissed on the mouth by 4 people who had COVID and didn't know it until the next day. And I never got it, okay? So I guess my immune system actually works. Strange concept.
Now, was that at the same time?
No. I don't do the group things, okay? I don't do the group things anymore. You're bad, Dave.
Hey, sometimes I'm just here for comic relief. It's
Yeah,
okay.
the questions that come up,
Yeah, exactly. Hello.
Okay, what would the world be like if we didn't have to have that divide and the division between people?
Well, the one thing is, I know that if we actually had the sense of peace and the lack of division, there'd be no more crime. Okay, crime would cease to exist if people functioned from allowance. First of all, if somebody came up to me and said, "I want your money," I said, "Okay." It's like people come up and say, "Hey man, you got some change?" I said, "Sure." "How much you want?" "All you got." And they stagger away, and I never see him again in that location. So you got to get that you can create change with people by giving them the energy of what real change is. People say, "I want to change this," but do they? You ever notice that most people say, "I want to change," but that's not true. They want things to be different, but why do they want them different? Because they've decided that difference will make a difference for them. Not that it's going to make a difference. It's just going to be not the same as it is now.
And for me, what I see if we truly had this kindness, imagine waking up in a world in which you felt valued and included.
What if you woke up in the morning and weren't going, "Oh God, I feel like shit"?
Yeah.
Because none of it ever belongs to you. You wake up in the morning, you think you feel like shit, and then you go, "Who does that belong to?" And it's like it's gone, and you go, "Well, where'd you go?" Poof, gone with the wind.
But we'd start from there,
Yeah.
and it would be something we would have with ourselves where we wouldn't look at us from a place of judgment, but from what else would I like to create? What else would I like to have? What else would I like to add to my life? And if we had that across the world, could you imagine a world in which borders started dissolving and wars were not possible, where everyone was invited to participate in every part of this beautiful planet based on, "Oh, your contribution here would make things greater."
Yeah.
Not, "Oh, you're from another country, so that doesn't work." What if instead of countries around the world, we had citizens of the world?
I mean, instead of cunts? Oh,
Instead of... Have you guys heard that one? They used to have kingdoms that were run by kings. They had empires that were run by emperors. Well, now we have countries.
You fill in the blank.
You fill in the blank.
I love the fact that you take advantage of all of my misdeeds and turn them around and make them funny.
Hey, I got your back, brother. I'm here for you. But really, there's this space of possibility available.
Yes.
One of the things that has shown up is the idea or the awareness that now is the space. Now is the
Yes.
space for something different. Now is the space for you to actually have and be the space of you, the contribution of you, and to function from, and when we talk about now is the space, rather than, most people live their lives in so much contraction and they're trying to get out, but they don't know how because it feels like it follows them all the time. And what we see with Access is you start to get a sense of space, which is kind of like the way you are when you go out in nature, where you're not being judged, where everybody's not thinking incessantly at you and at themselves. And you start to recognize that you can have that in your life now. And
it can be your life. You know, it is for me. I mean, I live in that place of non-contraction all the time. And I enjoy everything and everyone, unless they piss me off. And I only get pissed off occasionally.
and then you kill them.
And then I want to kill them, yes.
Well, you happen to have written a book, Gary Douglas,
I know,
called The Place. I
yes.
happen to have a copy. But really, this is an example, a
Yes.
beautiful example of a world that doesn't have separation
Yes.
or fight and true oneness.
Yes, and how magical it really can be.
Yeah.
And this is what we're gonna do. And it's like, and I spent a bunch of money and I had a script written. And we're gonna start here. As of today, I think it is, we're gonna start a fundraiser to try and gain the funds to be able to make this movie. And so we're hoping that everybody will contribute in any way they can to making sure that this comes to fruition, because I think it would inspire people to create a different world.
And if you, yeah. I'd like to clap for that. I agree. If you haven't read this book, I highly recommend it, but good luck reading it without crying. Because it so beautifully exposes and expresses a different space of being, a beyond reality way of being that speaks to every darn humanoid that reads it.
Yeah. Darn humanoids, they like it.
You
Yeah,
weirdos.
I think,
like it.
I think Brendan read it 11 times before he finally asked me a question about it.
Well, what I love about it too is, I want to ask, like, how do we create that world? And reading this book is an energetic experience of
Yes.
creating
And that
it.
was the purpose of it. Because it's a lot of how I created my life, which is really miraculous, you know? I mean, it's like I always wanted to live like a king. I do. You know? And Dane lives like a princess. So,
Everybody wins.
so we have, it's like we have a good time at our house all the time. And it's like, it's like our Christmas tree is a known phenomena in Houston.
True.
True
We have
story.
a
And around the
17
world, actually,
Yes.
at this point.
Yes, we have a 17-foot Christmas tree, okay? Like, we got tall ceilings. You know, I asked them if they could get us a bigger one. They said, no, we don't have any that big.
Like
You guys
could-
do things a little different,
True
Yeah.
story.
just a
little
little bit.
So if you look at if you'll notice, the background of the TV show is our house. Okay, most of it. Some of it was at the ranch also. But that is really thanks to Gary and his brilliant eye and awareness of things. And you walk in and there are things everywhere, but it has such a sense of space and contribution. Everything in our house contributes to us.
Yes.
And that is one of the things that if you'll function from that place, does this contribute to me? And it's not a verbal thing. It's not a thinking thing. It's an energetic thing. Does this contribute to me? Before you buy something, will
Yeah.
this contribute to me? And you'll get a sense of yes or no, and it'll take a little bit of practice, but eventually you'll just get to the point where somebody will say, hey, would you like this? And you'll be like, oh, well, will it contribute? No, okay. But if you function from there, if you start to live your life from does this contribute, both with people and jobs and stuff, and like if you went home and looked through your house and look and go, does this contribute? And notice and have gratitude.
Ask it if it wants to live with you anymore. Because, you know, it's like half the stuff we have because it belonged in our family or something. And, you know, it's like, unfortunately, not all of our families had good taste.
Good point.
You know, some of our families had bad taste. And it's like you got to get and you got to see what's really possible and what's really available in there, and if things want to live with you or not. I ask all the time, okay, anybody want to leave? And I get a yes, and I go, okay, so who wants to buy this? Can they show up? And somebody will walk in within a couple of days and go, gosh, I love that. If you ever want to sell it, sure, how much you want to give me? And I sell it. And it's like, it's okay with me. Why? Because I know there's more. I mean, everything that we have at the Antique Guild, I mean, look at this table. This thing is beautiful. And it's like, for me, it's like, this table, would I live with it? Yeah. Does it want to live with me? No, but it does want to live with somebody else, and I am the conduit.
I may know the person.
Okay, good.
Just got a couple of new chairs that need a table between them. This day is
Good
working out,
point.
kids. This is awesome. But one of the other parts of that is the awareness of, like, if you, Gary sees himself as a steward because he knows that everything has consciousness.
And I know I don't own anything. It owns me. Do you get up in the morning and go to work to take care of your stuff, or does it go to work to take care of you? I get up and go to work to take care of it. I pay to have it polished and prettied and looking great, and, you know, and it's like I pay others to do that. So guess what? That costs me, which means I have to go to work. It's my reason for living. No, it's not. But it's like it is there as a gift. And it's like, and I'm grateful. Every time I walk in my house, I'm grateful for what it is, and it's there, and I thank it. And it just shows me more and more beauty, and it's amazing. But if we have that kind of communion with everything, where we're interacting with it, engaging with the things we live with, it's like a whole different world starts to show up for you. It's really great.
And that contribution and communion is the way you speak about it and the way you write about it in this book is just so different. And one of the things after we're finished up this segment, you're going to see a couple of videos, but then we're going to go to the audio of you reading the first chapter of this book. So that is
Which
coming
is hideous.
It's beautiful. And if you guys are interested in what Gary's talking about and would like to contribute, you can go to theplacemovie.com. And the producer that's excited to team up and would like this to be his next movie is Scott Mitchell Rosenberg, who was the producer of Men in Black and Cowboys and Aliens. And he's really excited with this. So if it lights you up, go check out the website and find more details there. And I just want to say thank you, Gary Douglas. Thank you, Dane, for coming in.
Thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you all.
Thank you.
You're making me cry. Thank you. Okay, are we done?
We're done.
Can I go home now?
Go home and cry all you want.
Okay, good, I will.